Hi students, I am Dr. Bhavana. In this lecture we are going to deal with chemical coordination and integration. So in this chapter, chemical coordination and integration, we are mainly going to deal with hormones. These hormones are mainly important for our body. First, initially, what is coordination? Coordination, it is the process in which two or more organs interact with each other and complement the functions of one another. Means they interact with each other, two organs, and they help in complement the functions of one another. This is coordination. There should be some coordination between two organs for a function to perform. So, initially the neural system plays a very important role in this coordination. Initially, when we have dealt with neural control and coordination, their coordination is important between the organs. Not only as these nerve fibers, means the neural system, it does not innervate every cell of the body. It won't innervate every cell. So, what happens is, as it cannot innervate every cell of the body, there should be some special mechanism. This mechanism is known as hormones. These hormones, what they will do? They will pass into every cell of the body. These chemicals, they are the chemicals. These pass into every cell of the body and they help in this coordination mechanism. So only the neural system does not play an important role. This chemicals called as hormones also play a very important role. Hormones. These hormones, they come under a system called as endocrine system. Endocrine system. These endocrine glands, they are called as ductless glands. Means ducts are absent for these. These are called as ductless glands. So mainly chemical coordination and integration means nothing but we are going to deal with endocrine system. Then this endocrine system is, they lack ducts, so they are called as ductless glands, and the main endocrine system is contributed by the hormones. These hormones are mainly chemicals. These act as intercellular messengers. They act as intercellular messengers that helps in transportation of substances through the blood. Means these hormones, these chemicals, they are released into the blood. So these travel along the blood and they reach the site. Suppose here there is some hormone that is released. This travels through the blood and reach the organs. They reach the organs and they travel a long distant site and they finally reach the organs. Like neural system means everything, it has axon. We already dealt. A neural system, it has axon and it helps in transportation to various parts of the body. But these cannot reach every part of the body, no. So they'll go and reach only some organs. These are released into the blood. Means chemicals will be released into the blood and they'll reach the organs. They act as intercellular messengers that helps in transportation of substances through blood. So mainly these hormones play a very important role. Mainly the endocrine glands are mainly hypothalamus, pituitary gland, as well as we see pineal gland, thyroid gland. Like that there are so many glands, thyroid, testes, ovaries, that all in detail about each gland we will go and deal. So firstly, these are the main endocrine glands. We all think only these are the endocrine glands, but the liver, kidney, these also play a very important role. Liver, kidney also, they release so many hormones. liver, kidney also play a very important role in this endocrine system. They also release numerous hormones. So first we'll deal in detail about each and every hormone. The first hormone which we are going to deal in detail is hypothalamus. In neural system we have dealt with this hypothalamus. Where is hypothalamus present? Hypothalamus, it is usually present in the forebrain. It is present in the forebrain. We already discussed that there are three types. The brain is divided into three parts, that is forebrain, midbrain, hindbrain. In forebrain, mainly there are three. Those are cerebrum, as well as thalamus, as well as hypothalamus. So these are the cerebrum, thalamus, hypothalamus. Those three are the main things. So here hypothalamus, it is the part of, it is present in the basal part of diencephalon. That is, suppose this is the brain. Here on the basal part of the forebrain, this hypothalamus is present. This hypothalamus is present on the basal part of diencephalon. That is, basal part of the forebrain it is present. So it releases neurosecretory hormones, means neural secretions. They release numerous neural secretions. These neural secretory hormones, they are of mainly two types. That is, they help in secretion of pituitary hormones. They help in secretion of pituitary hormones they will secrete, as well as they inhibit the pituitary hormones also. They will inhibit the pituitary hormones. Mainly the function of hypothalamus is they help in secretion of pituitary hormones as well as inhibition of pituitary hormones. Secretion of pituitary hormones means what? There are numerous pituitary hormones. Mainly the main hormones are, first one is gonadotropin releasing hormone, GnRH we say in the short form, gonadotropin releasing hormone. This is the main hormone. They help in secretion of this gonadotropin releasing hormone. This anterior pituitary secretes this hormone, anterior pituitary. Whereas these inhibit the pituitary hormones, means somatostatin helps. Somatostatin. See, these are important NEET questions they'll ask. Mainly in the hypothalamus, what is the role of hypothalamus? Which hormones it secretes? Means you should say it helps in secretion of pituitary hormones as well as inhibition of pituitary hormones. Means which will help in inhibition of pituitary hormones is somatostatin, whereas which helps is gonadotropin releasing hormone, GnRH short form, gonadotropin releasing hormone, somatostatin. So these two help in secretion as well as inhibition of hormones. Mainly the posterior pituitary is under direct neural regulation of hypothalamus. Means directly the posterior pituitary is attached to this hypothalamus. It helps in direct neural regulation. Anterior pituitary means there is some process in between. It will first transport into the blood, then it will release, like that that process will be there. Whereas posterior pituitary, it is under direct neural regulation. This is by posterior pituitary. So this is under direct neural regulation of hypothalamus. Direct neural regulation. And the hypothalamus, as it is present in the brain, it helps in transportation of hormones through the axons. We saw that, see, in the nerve fiber mainly the axons help in transportation. As these axons, this is an axon and this is cell body, you all know this all are dendrites. So this axon mainly helps in transportation of substances mainly. That is, they transmit the signals from the CNS to all parts of the body. Mainly through axon first, this hypothalamus releases this neurosecretory hormones, and these are transported to various tissues. First through axons, then they are released into the blood. Finally, wherever the action is there, that is wherever these hormones should go and efficient their function, there these hormones will go. So this is about the hypothalamus. So a quick review of hypothalamus. What is about hypothalamus? Mainly it is the basal part of the diencephalon, that is, it is the main part of the forebrain. So forebrain mainly consists of cerebrum, thalamus and hypothalamus. If you see and watch that video of neural control and coordination, there I have explained you in detail about the brain. Here that's why I am not going deep into the brain, because here mostly what we need is about the endocrine glands and their hormones. So this hypothalamus helps in secretion of pituitary hormones, as well as it inhibits the secretion of pituitary hormones. So mainly what it helps in secretion is gonadotropin releasing hormone. This is released by anterior pituitary, whereas somatostatin, it inhibits the pituitary hormones. So this is released through posterior pituitary. So posterior pituitary is under direct neural regulation of hypothalamus. Means it is directly that is connected to hypothalamus. Then mainly about hypothalamus is it releases neurosecretory hormones, these two hormones, and they help in release of hormones through the axon, and then finally it will help in reaching the distant organs. Next we are going to deal with, this is about one gland. First we have completed one gland. Next we are going to deal with pineal gland. Till now we have dealt about hypothalamus. Now we are going to deal with the pineal gland. Pineal gland. Pineal gland, it is present on dorsal side of the forebrain. Here also on dorsal side of forebrain only it is present. Hypothalamus is also present on the forebrain, whereas this is also present on the forebrain only. But this is present on dorsal side of forebrain. Dorsal, where is pineal gland located? Important neat question, you all should note down this. So it is present on dorsal side of the forebrain. It secretes a hormone called as melatonin. Melatonin. We all know mostly about melatonin. What the important role of melatonin is sleep-wake cycle. It helps in 24-hour rhythm of our body. 24-hour rhythm means sleep-wake cycle. Suppose why you all people sleep at night as well as wake up in the morning, everything, this also is controlled by a hormone only. That hormone is mainly known as melatonin. This only regulates our sleep-wake cycle. If you go to US also, there will be timings change. There also, how you get adapted, there will be jet lag for you people. So what will happen next, after 2-3 days you will come to normal. This all is regulated by melatonin hormone. This hormone helps mainly in 24 rhythm of our body. 24 hours, it is divided into day as well as night. Sleep-wake cycle it also plays an important role. This hormone not only helps in the sleep-wake cycle, it also plays an important role in pigmentation of the body as well as menstrual cycle also. In the menstrual cycle also, the periodic changes, everything, these all are by melatonin hormone only mainly. Pigmentation means you differentiate between white skinned individuals as well as darker individuals. These all is through melatonin hormone. So this is mainly about pineal gland. They'll ask you melatonin is secreted by which gland? Important NEET question. So you should say it is secreted by pineal gland. So what are the functions they'll ask? And they'll give you 4 options differently. Like 24 hours as well as pigmentation, menstrual cycle. All these they'll give, and they'll give the 4th option as all of the above. So you should say all of the above. It is present mainly on the dorsal side of the forebrain. It regulates 24 hours sleep-wake cycle, as well as it not only sleep-wake cycle, it plays an important role in pigmentation of the body, as well as menstrual cycle also it regulates. Next gland we are going to deal is, till now we have completed 2 glands, hypothalamus as well as pineal gland. The 3rd gland is thyroid. See, thyroid is very, very important. So many questions. After you go to MBBS also, they'll ask you so many questions related to thyroid gland only. Because thyroid gland, nowadays so many people are suffering from this thyroid disturbances only. Hyperthyroidism, hypothyroidism. So mainly these NEET people, they'll concentrate mostly on this thyroid gland only. So first thyroid gland if you want to deal. Next. So in this thyroid gland mainly it is present on either side of trachea. Trachea, I already told you, this is trachea, and it is supported by C-shaped cartilaginous rings. C-shaped cartilaginous rings it is supported. So this trachea is bounded on either side by 2 lobes of thyroid. These 2 are thyroid. So on either side of thyroid is connected by a tissue known as isthmus. Isthmus. What is that which connects the 2 lobes of the thyroid? The 2 lobes of thyroid are connected by a connective tissue that is called as isthmus. The trachea is supported by C-shaped cartilaginous rings. Where is thyroid located means it is located on either side of trachea, and it is connected by isthmus. It consists of mainly 2 lobes. These 2 lobes mainly consists of numerous follicles as well as stromal tissues. Numerous follicles will be present. Follicles means what? Those are the cells which are present. Follicles. As well as stromal tissue means in between these follicles there will be tissue that is present. So, numerous cells, numerous follicles, they are connected by stromal tissues. Stromal tissues. So each follicle, on 2 sides follicles as well as stromal tissues are present. See, each follicle, it contains numerous follicular cells will be present. Numerous follicular cells. These follicular cells, these follicular cells only, they secrete the hormones that are related to thyroid gland. That is T3 as well as T4 hormones. T3 as well as T4 hormones. What is T3 is triiodothyronin. Triiodothyronin. T4 is tetraiodothyronin. Tetraiodothyronin. Mainly if you go to some hospital and if you go and get checked about the thyroid gland, mainly these hormones only they will see. First T3 levels are high or not, whether T4 levels, and there is also other hormone called as thyrocalcitonin. Thyrocalcitonin. This thyrocalcitonin, what it will do is, it decreases the blood calcium levels. It decreases the blood calcium levels. Means it plays an important role in, suppose in renal tubules, everywhere you need more of calcium you need. So this thyrocalcitonin, what it will do? It will decrease in the blood, it will decrease the calcium levels. It will increase in the renal tubules as well as in the kidney. It will increase the calcium levels as well as in other glands also it will increase the calcium levels. But in this blood, it will decreases the calcium level. So mainly T3 as well as T4. T3, T4 as well as thyrocalcitonin. These three hormones are mainly important in this thyroid gland. If T3 levels also will be there, but that is not important for you here in this NEET. How much level? If you go to any hospital also, these three only they will check. T3, T4 as well as thyrocalcitonin. So mainly in these T3 and T4 glands, if there is deficiency of iodine, then it leads to goiter as well as hypothyroidism. Mainly where we see this hypothyroidism is if whatever diet we consume, if there is less level of iodine in it, if there is less iodine in it, this is known as, then it constitutes to hypothyroidism as well as goiter. In hypothyroidism is usually seen in pregnant females. Mostly if it will occur in females, it will mainly occur in pregnant females mainly, this hypothyroidism. So this hypothyroidism, it is seen in these people. What it will do, if there is, then the newborn who will be, the newborns, they will have mental retardation, they will become mostly deafer, as well as there will be stunted growth. If any female is usually diagnosed with hypothyroidism, then they should go and immediately meet a doctor. So there you should use tablets for hypothyroidism because it will affect you a lot. There will be heat intolerance also. Heat as well as cold intolerance will be there. And the newborn which are formed, also they will have mental retardation. They will have stunted growth. Poor development will be there. Stunted growth is nothing but there will be poor growth, as well as they will become deaf as well as dumb. Like that, so many features will be there. So immediately what you should do is, you should take thyroxine. This is an additional information which I am giving. What is the medicine you use for hypothyroidism is thyroxine. About 0.4 μg, about this much you should use for this thyroxine. So this is about, as well as if the people are not married, in young females, what we see is irregular menstrual cycles also we see. If they are diagnosed with thyroidism. As well as when there is increase in the level of thyroid hormones. If there is decrease in level of thyroid hormones, we see hypothyroidism. If there is increase in the level of thyroid hormones, then you see hyperthyroidism. Main example of hyperthyroidism is exophthalmic goiter. Exophthalmic goiter means what? Mainly the features of exophthalmic goiter are, there will be enlargement of the eyes. Means the eyes will be very much swollen in these individuals. Eyes are swollen. There will be enlargement of the eye glands, and there will be again heat and cold intolerance. There will be so much of hair loss will be there. The people lose weight very easily, means the people will become very thin people they lose so much of weight. So this is about hypothyroidism. Whereas in hypothyroidism, the people will gain weight. So this prolonged, anything which is prolonged is very dangerous for life. Hyperthyroidism is enlargement of the neck also we see, and there will be swollen glands which are seen, eyes will be swollen, whereas there will be hair loss as well as they will become very thin. So these are the features of hyperthyroidism and hypothyroidism. Mainly the thyroid hormones, they play a very important role in metabolism of carbohydrates. See, thyroid hormones, what are the thyroid hormones which I told you? T3, T4, thyrocalcitonin. These three hormones also play a very important role in metabolism of carbohydrates, proteins as well as fats. They play an important role in metabolism of carbohydrates, proteins, fats, as well as they will increase the RBC production also. Red blood cells, you all know about red blood cells. So these red blood cells also will get increased in number. So there are many beneficial uses of these thyroid hormones. Mainly, so we have dealt with the thyroid gland. Now the third gland which we have dealt is thyroid gland. See, in this chapter what is the speciality is about each gland you will learn separately, but these all constitutes the endocrine glands only, main endocrine glands, but each it is segregated into many topics. In our NEET textbook also it is like that only. So you can learn very easily. For this chapter you don't need so much time to prepare. Main points you can take from these, you can write whatever notes I am telling you. If you write it easily, you no need to read textbook only. You can easily go and answer the questions in the material itself. That's it. No need to spend so much time on reading. If you listen to this class and if you understand, then easily you can do the bits, because mainly I'll discuss about NEET questions only. So first, thyroid I told you, it is present, these consists of two lobes. It is connected by isthmus and it secretes three hormones known as T3, T4, thyrocalcitonin. Thyrocalcitonin decreases the blood calcium levels. It decreases the blood calcium levels. Whereas parathyroid hormone, that next I will deal, that increases the blood calcium. Thyroid means it will decrease the blood calcium levels, as well as if excess of iodine is consumed, then it will lead to hyperthyroidism. If less of iodine is consumed, it leads to hypothyroidism. In pregnant females, we see the baby is born with mental retardation, deafness, stunted growth, as well as heat intolerance, as well as they will gain weight. Hypothyroidism. In females, young females also, you see irregular menstrual cycles and there will be hair loss, everything will be seen. Whereas when it comes to hyperthyroidism, here also there will be enlargement, this neck will be swollen so much in hyperthyroidism. As well as the eyes are swollen, there will be hair loss and they will appear very thin. Whereas this thyroid hormones, mainly they play an important role in metabolism of carbohydrates, proteins as well as fats. And there will increase RBC production also. Red blood cells also will get increased. Thyroxine is the medicine which we use for hypothyroidism. Thyroxine. If you use thyroxine, you should continuously use for lifelong, because once you get hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism, it is generally not curable. You should take medicines for lifelong. So this is about that. I discussed about this goiter and all. So this is mainly about the thyroid gland. Next we are going to deal with parathyroid gland. Parathyroid gland, they are mainly about 4 in number. They are about parathyroid. Parathyroid glands are about 4 in number. See, I told you 2 lobes are present of thyroid. They are connected by isthmus. This is trachea. So here 2 parathyroid glands are present. Means totally 4. 2 pairs of parathyroid or 4 parathyroid are present. 2 pairs. That is 2 in each lobe are present. So what is the use of this parathyroid glands? These parathyroid glands, they play a very important role in increasing the blood calcium levels. They increase the blood calcium levels. They secrete a hormone known as parathyroid hormone. Parathyroid. PTH. We say everything we say in simpler form only. Because in NEET also they'll ask, they want us parathyroid hormone. They'll say PTH. Means you should get remembered. Thyroid hormone is only TH, whereas parathyroid hormone is PTH. So in this parathyroid hormone, this increases the blood calcium levels. So what happens when the blood calcium levels increase? There will be more of calcium that will be present in the blood. In the wherever calcium is present, that is in the renal tubules as well as wherever in kidneys, anywhere where it is present, it will in the bones also mainly. See, bones as well as in the kidneys mainly, they help in reabsorption of calcium from bones and kidneys. Reabsorption of calcium from bones as well as kidneys. Reabsorption means what? Calcium will be present in bones as well as kidneys also. More of calcium will be present. But what this parathyroid hormone will do? It will decrease the calcium levels in the bones and kidneys, and it increases in blood. See, suppose the blood is flowing in this. Here organs will be present. What this parathyroid hormone will do? It will help in release into the blood. These organs also it will promote. It will help in reabsorption. And these also from bones and kidneys, calcium is released into the blood. Every time it will do the same thing. So this parathyroid hormone increases the blood calcium levels and decreases the blood calcium levels in bones and kidneys. Whereas thyroid hormone, I told you thyrocalcitonin, TCT, it decreases the blood calcium levels and it increases the blood calcium levels in bones and kidneys. Both have opposite function with each other. These will decrease the blood calcium levels, thyroid, and they will increase in bones and kidneys, whereas this is vice versa. So this simply you can remember, no so much of confusion. Simply you can remember like parathyroid glands, they help in increasing blood calcium levels, whereas all others are self-explanatory. Only if you remember this will increase calcium levels, and thyroid you can remember it will decrease the calcium levels. In bones and kidneys also same way. Here it decreases the calcium levels in the bone as well as kidney, parathyroid. Here they will increase. So these are about parathyroid glands. Mainly in NEET what they will ask is, what is the use of this parathyroid hormone? Means it will increase the blood calcium levels. One question there they will ask. The other is how many parathyroid glands are present. Means 4 parathyroid, that is 2 pairs are present. So this is about parathyroid glands. Next we are going to deal with thymus. Thymus, it is present in between the two lungs. See, these are suppose two lungs. This thymus gland, it is present in between the two lungs. Thymus. Thymus, it is degenerated in old individuals. Means as we become older, means as we grow up, this thymus will decrease in size. So, this is thymus. It is present in between the two lungs on the ventral side of the sternum as well as on the dorsal side of aorta. Aorta will be there, no? Aorta means heart. In between the two lungs only heart is present. Heart has upper chambers. Suppose this is heart and there is aorta which is present here. So it is present on the aorta mainly. As well as it is present. Here sternum will be there. Here sternum is present. So on the dorsal side of aorta as well as sternum, this thymus is present. It is degenerated in older individuals. It is degenerated. It is degenerated in old people. Means it will decrease in size. What is the mainly function of thymus? The main function of thymus is it helps in differentiation of T lymphocytes. It helps in differentiation of T lymphocytes. So T lymphocytes, we know about T lymphocytes as well as B lymphocytes. These lymphocytes, they help in our immune system of the body. They help in immune system. See, that's why in older individuals also, the immune system will be very much decreased. Means they will be frequently affected with so many diseases, older people. Why they are affected with diseases are, they have low immune system. This immune system is mainly by T lymphocytes. This T lymphocytes mainly they constitute cell-mediated immunity. Cell-mediated immunity. Whereas B lymphocytes, they help in humoral immunity. Humoral immunity means what? Is they helps in production of antibodies. Production of antibodies. Antibodies are very much important for us. Whatever a microorganism which enters our body, this is through antibodies only, mainly. Antibodies play a very important role in fighting against the humoral immunity. Means they will self-defense. So self-defense is by B lymphocytes. They help in production of antibodies. B lymphocytes. Whereas T lymphocytes, they help in cell-mediated immunity. What is the role of cell-mediated immunity? It helps in secretion of T lymphocytes. These both play a very important role. So this is about the thymus gland. Thymus is mainly, it is present in between the two lungs. It is present on the dorsal side of the aorta and it is present on ventral side of the sternum. As well as thymus, it is degenerated in old individuals. Degenerated means what? They will decrease in size because as we grow up, in children very big size it will be there, while as in older people it will be very small in size. So it is degenerated in older individuals. It has two lymphocytes, T lymphocytes as well as B lymphocytes. T lymphocytes as well as B lymphocytes play an important role in our immune system of the body. Means they fight against the diseases. So this thymus helps in differentiation of mainly T lymphocytes, not B. But I have told you about B also because these B also play an important role in humoral immunity. that is cell mediated immunity, that is humoral immunity, that is they help in production of antibodies, whereas T lymphocytes, they help in cell mediated immunity. So this is about the thymus. Next we are going to deal with pancreas.